Okay, so this is bead loom weaving. We've already warped the loom. You can see that this person is going to use wider beads because they've separated out their warp strings on their loom. You can also see that their extra string is here. You are going to need a piece of thread. You're going to need a beading needle, and the beading needle is long and skinny, and I would recommend using a needle threader. This needle threader, you take the diamond part and you're actually going to take that through the eye of the needle, and then you're going to take your string through the diamond part, and I recommend using thread to weave with in a bead loom weaving because it's thin, so you'll have no problems going through. Then you're going to take and you're going to pull your needle threader back through the needle. Sometimes this can rip your thread, so you want to be really careful. You don't want any weak spots in your thread. So you can see like right there that it kind of ripped the thread. I'm just going to pull that so I don't have that weak spot. And then I'm going to tie my string onto my needle. I would only single knot it because if you have really thin beads, a double knot is going to get stuck. Then you're going to take the other end of your string and you're going to tie it on to your warp string. And this one you can double knot. Now you need your beads. I would always double check that your beads are actually going to go over your needle before you get started. These are the slightly larger seed beads, so we shouldn't have any problems. But if they're a little bit smaller, you might get stuck every once in a while. And what you're going to do is you are going to put the bead on the needle in the pattern that you want. And this person wants checkered, so we're going to do every other color. And if you look, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 strings, so we're going to need 6 beads. You always need one more string than what you have beads. So we have our 6 beads. Now you're going to slide your beads all the way to the end of your string. And remember that weaving is an over-under process. So first I'm going to take my string and my beads under my warp. And then I'm going to pop them back up so that I have one bead in between every string. And now I'm going to take my needle through the hole of the bead, but also it's going to go over the warp thread. So I started by going under and popping up. Now I'm going to go over. So that's my weaving pattern. And then I'm going to pull my needle all the way through. And I like to hold the loop of the extra thread so it doesn't get tangled. Now you'll notice this is still kind of wobbly, so I probably should go under over again. And to do that, to make my life a little bit easier, I'm going to flip the loom and I'm going to push the beads so that when I take my needle through the opening of the bead, I am going under my warp string. And you want to be really careful that you don't take the needle actually through your finger. And already my beads are feeling a little bit more secure, but I'm also going to go over one more time too. This also helps because I will be starting at the same side. And now my strings, my beads are a little bit more secure. The other thing that I forgot to mention is this is the warp side that I started with. This is the warp side that has the extra string. You're always starting your weaving at the beginning where their string is not extra. The extra string's on the other side. Because you're going to weave from here to here, and then you're going to turn this and pull your current weaving around this wooden peg. So you'll get your extra string here. So it wouldn't make any sense to do that because you wouldn't be able to pull it. So now I'm going to do my next row, and my next row needs to be the opposite because I'm going for checkers. So orange, blue, orange, blue. And I need 6 beads again. Oops, oops, oops. And now I'm good to go. And I'm going to do that same thing. So I'm going to take my beads all the way to the end, and I'm going to take my weft string that holds the beads under, and then I'm going to pop my beads up and in between my strings. So my weft is under my warp right now. Oh, do I have an extra bead on there? Yes, I do. No, I don't. There we go. Now I pop them up, and now I'm just going to take my needle back over my warp thread, but through the beads. And then I'm going to go under my warp thread. I still think it's easier to flip and push. That way I know I am going under. Oops, that guy's going a little crazy there. My warp thread, but I'm missing a couple of these beads, I think. Nope. Yep, okay. There we go. And you can even double check at the end if your needle is under that warp thread. And then, so I'm starting on the same side. I'm going to pop them back up and go over. And then you would keep going, following your pattern. If you were using thinner seed beads, remember you wouldn't skip here. Always remember you start at the side that does not have the extra string. So if I wanted to, I could loosen this and I could turn and pop my beads here and turn this whole thing and bring my woven part around so that I would be able to continue weaving on my warp thread. And like I said, then you would just keep going.